We're going to make some no-sew bedding, which is my favorite. Here's the bed. It was just a shiny brass bed. I toned it down with some gold paint and mixed with brown paint to give it a more antique look. Just a little extra step. Now, I used those Mr. Clean eraser sponges, and I only had pieces, so I kind of glued it all together. I wanted the mattress to be high on this one, so I did put some styrofoam on the bottom, and I just glued it with some Elmer's glue. Those are very hard to cut perfect. This is the bottom, so you won't see it anyway. I like to make things as finished as I possibly can. You need material, and you're also going to need some felt and some tin foil. I'm using liquid stitch. This is very tacky glue, but it works real good. I have a brush and a pencil, and I have some little trims to choose from to go with the fabric that I chose. And this is a little bed pillow that I had already made with a little throw pillow, and they're made the same way that we're going to make the bedding. I like to have a little pillow in there. I think it's cute when it kind of sticks out. So I'm going to take my solid fabric. Now you can use any fabric you want. I normally use cotton. It seems to work best. And this is almost like a sheet. Like I'm going to put a sheet on it. And it's very, very simple. You really don't see it anyway. But you know it's there. You know it's kind of a more finished look. So this is pretty self-explanatory of what I'm doing here. And this glue is really, really tacky. It's really sticky. And that's okay. That's flathead brush, so I can get as much coverage as possible. There's a lot of steps to this bedding, and if you take your time, it comes out nice and neat and finished. And we're just going to cover it. This is like wrapping a present. And like I said, the glue's real sticky. Have some paper towels around. I love the no-sew bedding. It's so pretty. And it's yours. Nobody else has it. One of a kind. Adding a little bit more glue. And just wrapping like a present. That's kind of a lot of material, but I am going to cut some of it down. Yeah, see, I'm going to cut some of it down. And I don't even know why, because you don't see it, but when you make something, you want it to be as nice as possible. You know it's there. Nobody else does, but you do. Just doing the other side. And I'm trying to hold it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is a little ridiculous. I got some pins. Now this glue, they say it takes 30 minutes to dry. I usually give it about an hour. And now just to kind of finish it a little bit more. That's Aileen's. I use so many different glues. I have a cabinet of glue. I'm a glue hoarder. Just putting it on there. And that's the bottom of the bed. Extra step. And I'm going to let that dry. And those just hold it down. So the next step is to put on a bed ruffle. You can use a different material. You can use lace. Anything that you see that you might think might make a pretty bed ruffle. With the material that I chose, I wanted this bed to be fancy. So I had that. I really liked that, but it was kind of too thick. And I had that lace, but it was too fine. So I wound up, using this one that was already like a ruffle, and it had a little shininess to it. And then I'm going to fit it to see where it's going to sit on the bed. And I want it to come down right to the bottom, right by the little legs. So I put a pencil mark. And I didn't go all the way around with the pencil mark. That's just kind of a good guide for me. Just kind of eyeball it. And I am going to use more of the liquid stitch. And with the flathead brush, I'm just going to go around. And I am going to bring the dust ruffle to the back. You can put it all the way around the back. I just didn't. And then to ensure that it's going to hold and hold quickly, I'm using some hot glue. You don't have to, but then you'd have to pin it to hold it, and this is just easier. They kind of dry together and you get a good hold. So I went all the way around, and like I said, I stopped right there, but you could go all the way around with it if you wanted. And it's on. Pretty simple. Now I'm just going to kind of fit it on the bed, and you got to play around with this. If you use a straight dust ruffle that you made out of material or lace, it's not quite as tricky as this one. This one was a little bit trickier to get it down to the bottom. And you just got to play around with that. And when you get it where you like it and you're satisfied with it, you can glue the bottom piece of the mattress down to the bottom of the bed, which I did, but I didn't show. And I'm good with that. And now we're going to start making the little comforter. So this is the material I picked. All the material I had already ironed before I started the video. This one, I'd never used this type of material before. It's very shiny, it's very slippery. What was I thinking? I don't know, but it was pretty. That's what I was thinking. It was really pretty. So I'm going to fit this on so I know where I want to cut it, how far do I want it to go down the sides. And I am going to keep it longer on the top for now. So I want it to come, I guess, right about there. You could do it longer, you could do it shorter. And I just put a pencil mark. I do things pretty simple. When I watched this video back, there wasn't much I could really edit out. Because each step just goes to the other step and you kind of need to see it all. The only thing I really didn't show was the ironing. And that's pretty simple. You'll know when you need to iron to get your pieces laying level. And this is just a light pencil stroke down. You won't see the pencil. I have in the past used chalk as well. A white chalk doesn't really make a difference. You don't see it. And those are my fabric scissors. They usually don't last very long as fabric scissors. I wind up cutting something else and dull them pretty quickly. But these are in pretty good shape for now. And doing the bedding, I do go pretty slow on it. I'm pretty careful because I want it to look really finished. So there we go. We've got the fabric and we want it the right side up. And I'm just going to do just an extra little fit just to make sure that I'm where I need to be. Because when you glue it, the glue's going to take up some room. So it'll be a little bit higher. And this is just the liquid stitch again. This liquid stitch lasts forever. I've had this for a while and I've made quite a few beds. At the end of the video, there's going to be some pictures of some of the other bedding that I made. This video is a little long, unfortunately, but it had to be for the best results for you if you do try to make this. And I'm going to leave that end open because we're going to put some felt and some foil inside, and that's a very exciting part for me. It's like my favorite. It's like a wonder of the world to me. And here I'm looking a little awkward, and it was. I was a little nervous working with this fabric that I've never worked with before. And now I'm just going to spread it out to make sure that I get every piece covered so that when you turn it inside out, you don't get a hole. It's my little pocket. And we're going to let it dry. Now we're going to do the pillowcase. So I have my little pillow, and the way I made this little pillow was just the way I'm making this case, this pillowcase. So you don't cut, just fold. And then the one end, just because of the end of the pillowcase, easy. So I'm just going to measure enough room. Bed pillow is just, I had a white fabric and I stuffed it with cotton and glued the end, and I just like the way it looks inside the pillowcase. Call me crazy. Little things make me very happy. Okay, so we're going to go just along the end, and again, I'm a little nervous about this fabric, but I'm committed. You don't need to do both sides. I was going to do both. You don't need to do the other side. You just need to do the two sides. Just make sure you get glue across the whole thing. And then just fold it. And you don't have to cut that one end. Easy. And that's the way you'd make a throw pillow too. Make the throw pillow in any size you want. I don't know what I'm thinking about there. I have no idea what I'm thinking. Scary. Okay, so now this is dried, and I let it dry for about an hour. And then I'm going to cut some of the excess off. You're going to make sure you don't cut into the piece of the fabric that isn't glued, if that makes sense. And here I can see it better on the lighter side. But I just want to get rid of some of that excess fabric. And I did cut a little diagonal on the corner. So I'm not taking much off, just a little bit of excess. And there, see, I'm going to do another little diagonal there, and that just gives you a nice little point on the end of your comforter. And we're going to turn it inside out. Here's the test. Do we have any holes? You usually won't. If you let it dry long enough, you usually won't. Just get in there. And that's a small end of a paintbrush, so I can get in there and get that little end. Be careful not to press too hard so you don't poke a hole. You can feel it when you're in there. And that looks good. Nope, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with my little corner. I'm going to poke a little bit more. There we go. And I'm doing the same with the pillowcase, taking off some of the excess. Take some time. Go slow. And then this one's a little bit more difficult to turn inside out. Not that bad. It's worth it. When you're done with the bedding and you look at it and you're like, I did that. I made that. There we go. And now I've ironed both pieces, the comforter and the pillowcase. I'm going to measure. Rough measurement. My measurements are rough. And then you want a more finished edge. So I'm just going to fold it in. I'm going to fold it in and I'm going to iron it. And that fabric's a little slippery. Cotton works better. It's easier to work with. So I've ironed it, and now I'm just going to go around, put a little liquid stitch. When I ironed it, that gives it's easier to fold it under. Even though I have a little challenge, it's because of the fabric. I don't know what I was thinking. Sometimes I question my thought process. So this is looking a little bit more difficult than it really is. Got it, and it's dry. And we're gonna put the little pillow in. The little pillow makes me so happy. Crazy. And it fits nice. Not too loose, not too tight. It fits good. And there's the little pillow peeking out. So there we go. There's the comforter and the little pillow. And it's ironed. That's also ironed. And now I'm going to fit it. So I want it to come down, and I want it to cover some of the ruffle. Now at this point, if you have a contrasting fabric or you want the underside to show, leave that there. Leave it there. You can always put some trim on the edge. It looks pretty. I've done that before, and it looks pretty. But I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm going to finish it off. And this is my favorite part. Silly as it may seem, this part is amazing. So I have a piece of felt, white felt, and I'm just going to go ahead and measure. I'm going to leave a little room where I have that little bit of excess fabric inside so that it slides in nice and easy. You don't have to do this part. I just think it's amazing. I found a gal who did this, and I just thought she was unreal. Who thinks of this stuff? And you're going to take the foil, cut it a little bigger. And you're just going to fold it over. Get a nice crease on it. This too is an extra step, but I just do it to keep it, the glue, put the glue in there just to keep it together. It'll stay without it. It's just one of my little extra steps. And just fold it. Get a good crease on it. This is exciting. Get ready. So I'm going to take my comforter. I'm going to put it in felt side up. So if you have a fabric, you won't see the foil underneath it. I'm going to seal that up. This is easy. Just going to put some liquid stitch. I'm being really careful with the glue because it's so sticky. I just don't want it to get onto the fabric where it doesn't need to be. Yeah, just getting it on there. And I'm gonna fold. Once again, that fabric I chose was slippery. And there we go, and I'm going to iron it. So here we go, and we've got it all done, and we're gonna fit it on the bed. I'm so excited. And you're gonna fold. And when you fold, because you have the aluminum foil in there, it contours to the bed. Is that a beautiful sight? It contours right to the bed. So it's not like sticking up on the ends. I love that. That excites me. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some trim. And when I found that fabric and it had that, I don't know, teal blue, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I found this at Joann's. It's like a little braid. And I'm going to glue it along the edge to give it a more finished look. You can use ribbon, lace, trim, whatever you want, whatever you find that you like that goes with it. And I'm just going to glue it along the sides. Isn't that foil amazing? And here I'm going inch by inch. My husband said, why don't you just take the bottle of tacky glue and liquid stitch, and just go around, put it on the braid? And I'm like, my answer was, I don't know. And I don't know why I didn't do that. And the edge of my pillowcase, it bothered me a little bit. So I had also bought at Joann's that same teal color. I found a thin ribbon. I think they're like 50 cents and they have all different colors. And I thought, I'm going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and use that to give it a better edge. I wasn't overly happy with that edge. It was okay. It's just me. And I am using a toothpick. The brush was just a little too thick for this ribbon. It's pretty thin. But I was glad that I was able to find some of these different teal colors to match this crazy fabric that I picked. I picked the fabric because I really liked it. I kept going back to it. My eye was just drawn to it. And it was something I had never used before, and I wanted this bed, like I said, to be fancy. And with the fabric, I buy a quarter yard. A quarter yard is plenty material for this, and it gives you room for error in case something happens, and you'll have enough. Usually for the ribbon, you buy in a spool, and when things are on the racks and they have to measure it, I'll usually buy a yard. And you do need to watch the prices, because some of those trim accessories, they can get pretty pricey. So there, I like that. It adds another little color. And now we have it done, and we can put it on the bed, and the bed looks good. And there's my trim. See, it comes out nice and neat. If you take your time, it really comes out nice. And my little pillow I wasn't happy with, so I cut out some little pieces of some trim that I had and just glued it on there. And here we go. Can't get enough of that foil and felt. I just can't get enough of it. Look at that. And because it had been measured, it fits really good. And we're going to bend it down. You can also bend in those corners more if you'd like. And when I'm done and I'm happy with this bed, I will take hot glue and I will glue down the comforter to the bed. Just little dots of glue. But look how that fits. And there's my little pillow that makes me happy. And there's the little throw pillow I made. Those are really easy. And there's the no-sew bedding. It's a princess bed. It's made for a princess. So stay tuned, going to show some clips of some of the other beds that I made. And I really hope you try this. Make sure you give yourself time. Have fun at the fabric store. Enjoy the fabrics and the trim and enjoy the reward that you get from making this, because you will. You're really, really going to like it. And like I do with my other beds, I go on eBay and I find these ladies that make these little Afghans, and I love them. So there's the little Afghan for this one. Not sure if I'm going to use it or not, but it just adds to it. It just makes it even prettier, like you want to jump right in it.